Okay, let's get started. Okay, today we're going to talk about the e-commerce design trends for 2026. Next week we're going to put together or we have put together a presentation on um, uh, technical trends for 2026 for e-commerce sites. And so a little bit different, definitely a different angle. And all I can say right now is, and what I've been saying for the last 4 to 6 months, when I we make recommendations for our clients in regards to, you know, how to uh, how to get a return on our investment, our e-commerce investment, is things are changing, and you need to make smart changes to take advantage or leverage the tool and your market. And I guess a little bit of my background in the 80s, I was tasked. I worked for Rogers Cable's research division, and we were tasked by JCPenney. We did a joint venture with JCPenney where we developed the first in-home e-commerce shopping system. And the whole idea behind that was to test and see whether this was a viable solution. So we went building, and we did housewares, and we did women's clothing and a variety of other categories itself. And what we did was we tested in 30. We tested in 320 homes in a high-end suburb in Chicago. And what we did was put a 6 by 6 foot box into on telephone poles in the neighborhood, serving one box served two homes. In it was a full-blown computer system and 8 video discs. So it shows you how long it goes. It was video discs to show the video. And the keypad was their telephone, and the display device was their TV. So we built this fantastic system, as we thought. We put it into all the homes, and it was a 3 month trial. After 3 months, we polled everyone and we said, what do you think of the service? And mixed reviews. And we said, would you pay for the service? All of them said no. And we said, well, if we gave you the service for free, would you keep it in your house? One person said yes. We learned a lot of lessons in that process itself. And I think the thing that we need to understand is e-commerce is changing, and we need to keep learning lessons on an ongoing basis. So with that in mind, let's get started. So today we're covering the top e-commerce design trends, but not visual trends and not platform hype. This is about how design decisions drive conversions. Notice drive conversions is first. SEO, we still got to play in that space. AI discoverability, the brand new one, and is it causing an upheaval? Accessibility and revenue within the real constraints of modern e-commerce platforms. So it's one thing to do an ideal system, but will your platform allow you to do it? So those platforms will cover applies for Shopify, Shopify Plus, nice and easy to use system, WooCommerce, Magento open source, and Adobe Commerce, by far the most complex and difficult. But so much flexibility and so much power. To set context, let's start with who this is really for. We didn't design this presentation. We designed it for a specific audience itself, and you have to. So this session is built for mid-size e-commerce brands, roughly 1 to 100 million in revenue. It's for marketers, designers, e-commerce managers, developers, who have to collaborate inside real CMS limitations. Notice the word collaboration, because typically in this environment, it's a team to do it. One person just they don't have the skill sets to be able to pull this off properly. Nothing here assumes unlimited budgets or enterprise-only tooling. Okay, and so it's surprising how much money they can spend, and how their budgets can grow just based on the latest whim of what they're trying to accomplish. And it's usually the whim of the CEO or some senior manager. Um, so why has e-commerce changed so dramatically? Um, because basically e-commerce has changed because discovery has changed. So AI now AI search now influences buying decisions. Google rewards usability and accessibility, and CMS defaults increasingly affect rankings and conversions. So AI and Google are changing the landscape, and they're changing the landscape dramatically. Design no longer just affects how users feel, it affects whether they can even find you. And we are saying constantly that we used to build for people. Now we're building for people and machines. That leads to a new definition of what good design actually means. So in 2026, good e-commerce design is easy to discover. So AI, SEO, easy to understand, easy to trust, and easy to buy from. But there's an important fifth requirement, and it must be easy to optimize within your CMS and easy to manage. Because what is happening now is everyone gets penalized for static sites. So what they want to see is new content, new initiatives. They want it to be fresh for it to rank. Okay. Um, and I had one of our e-commerce experts, or sorry, one of our digital marketing experts, recommending putting up blog posts for a client. And I went, well, we know blog posts don't rank. Why are you doing that? She said, it's the only way I can get the client to put up fresh content. And if you don't put up fresh content, you're just not going to stay. You're not going to stay relevant. Um, and so, with that foundation, let's look at the first major trend. So, trend number one is conversion first design. Now, conversion first design starts with how customers buy, not how brands want to express themselves. And there's always, and yeah, this matters even more in platforms like Shopify or WooCommerce, where themes are strongly shape behavior. And picking themes is such an important component that it is reflective of your brand and what you're trying to attain. Clear value propositions and obvious actions consistently outperform visual storytelling now. Okay. Whereas it was about visual storytelling before, now that is not, it's not as high on the priority list. So the next slide is a key driver of conversion is reducing cognitive load. So cognitive load kills conversions. Too many calls to action, inconsistent layouts, or over-customized templates slow users down. High-performing teams enforce simplicity at the template level, so every page feels predictable. But simplification only matters if we measure the right outcomes. So you must measure conversion rate across CMS templates, revenue per visitor by device, average order value influenced by UX, retention enabled by platform features, data over design opinions. I can't tell you how often we get people coming in and going, we want it this way, we want it to look this way. And we go, it just doesn't work and convert anymore. And so it's an ongoing dialogue. And I spent half an hour this morning on working with our team in regards to design elements and what's going to convert and what's going to not. And the target audience I think it was 82-year-olds. So obviously how we're designing for them and what we're designing for other groups is different. So this clarity also benefits search engines and AI systems itself. So they demand it now. So they reward clarity, clean server rendered HTML Predictable templates and clear page intent outperforms clever but complex layouts. Heavy apps and JS, JavaScript only rendering reduce visibility across platforms. Now, so not only do you have to present your content in a clear manner um, and structured correctly for these tools, but you also have to do your back end programming and your front end programming 100% correctly to be found and to get organized and to be have citations. So it's not just about presenting content, it's about presenting the content both from a creative and a technical standpoint. Now, here's one of the big areas of success that is new is this becomes especially important on category pages. Now, category pages now need to be treated like landing pages. And Shopify collections, Woo categories, Magento's PLPs, optimized pages. Um, so these are one of the biggest missed opportunities in e-commerce. They should function again like landing pages, not product lists. This applies equally to Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, and Adobe. So what does a high-performing category page look like? High-performing category pages include intro content, scannable headers, internal links, trust signals, and clear calls to action. The key is making this content CMS editable so teams can optimize without developer bottlenecks. So important moving forward, and such a high emphasis now being placed on these. And there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. And they say you have to have a lot of good information on these pages itself. And boy, I can tell you what you cannot do is just reams of paragraphs or reams of information, in paragraphs not structured for a proper digital layout. So content plays a critical role here. Content works best when it supports buying guides, comparisons, and FAQs should live inside these e-commerce templates, not buried in blocks. WooCommerce and Magento excel in regards to putting together content. Shopify and Shopify Plus are rapidly improving in that area, and they realize how important it is. A typical category page to rank really well now should have 1,500 to 2,800 words on it. So guess what? You can do it really easily badly. And it's challenging to do it correctly. That's another area we're not going to go today, but these category pages are goldmine. So this structure also improves AI discoverability. So structured category and product content builds topical authority. Okay, that authority feeds AI-generated summaries and recommendation. AI favors clarity and consistency, not complexity. Okay, so very, very important that for AI discoverability, you also have base SEO built into it, baked in. It's a building block on top of base SEO. So now let's talk a little bit about intent. And so not every visitor arrives with the same intent. We know this. Browsing users, buying users, and returning customers all need different paths. Intent-based design uses templates and light personalization, not heavy scripts to support those needs. And what in the Jacob Nielsen in his research, what they found was repeat users have no problem with the little extra effort you need to put in for the first time user to make their path to completion easier. And so the general rule is designed for the new visitor and new customer, and but take into consideration the intents of the regular visitor itself. So navigation plays a huge role in this. And the trend is fewer top level categories, clearer hierarchies, and stronger reliance on search. Complex mega menus hurt usability and SEO, regardless of CMS. Now, in organizing navigation, we always recommend following the 7 and 3 rule. So main navigation items, sub-navigation items, third level sub-navigation should never have more than 7. 3 is the ideal for groupings, etc. So there's a whole art and science in regards to how to put together a simplified navigation so people can get at it quite easily. And we were working on something yesterday where in the mobile, a sub-navigation mobile, I think it had like 130 choices because the product wasn't configured correctly. And so, every, yeah, and that just can't happen. You can't give that type of user experience and expect conversions and stuff. So simplified navigation needs to be organized, and it's a real art to do it. And we spend a lot of time honing that skill itself, and are quite proud about how quickly we can get to reasonable solutions there. But it's a tough one. So, and search itself has evolved. And we used to always say and this is a few years back, that search would be is if you haven't done your navigation correctly. People can't find your products or solutions. It's not that way anymore. And then the results from search, internal searches, were less than 50% accurate as far as really answering the questions. They're getting far, far better. So, on-site search has become a core conversion tool. Predictive autocomplete, error tolerance, and product reviews help users self-direct faster. Search users often convert significantly better than non-search users. And that's because they know what they're looking for. And if they find it, they're going to convert. So search becomes far more popular. And one of the things too is when you're building for internal search, you're also typically building for external search. So organic SEO. So the two go hand in hand. And it's nice when people understand that and build the internal search to structure like the external search itself. So all this turns navigation into revenue architecture. And so basically, navigation isn't just about UX. It's we're liking to call it revenue architecture. And so it's a new buzzword that we've been talking about here. So better navigation leads to faster discovery, lower bounce rates, stronger internal linking, and higher conversions. Okay. So one of the things is the third point, stronger in, or sorry, the fourth point, improved internal linking. That is a huge factor, becoming such a major factor in regards to organic SEO and AIO. And where it was always before about strong external linking to the site, is everyone's moving to stronger internal linking, and that's so much easier. And again, that changes because the systems are being gamed. And so not always do they make changes for the benefit of the user, but they're making changes because the system's getting gamed. And so that's why the switch to that. Now, let's talk a little bit about performance. So faster, lighter experience. Speed is no longer a technical afterthought. It's a design requirement. And minimal animation, optimized assets, and fewer third-party scripts outperform visually heavy designs on every CMS. This ties directly into core web vitals, and they are becoming so much more important. So metrics like LCP and CLS are heavily influenced by design decisions. And those lovely rotating banners, and just the list goes on. They're just killers for core web vitals. So stable layouts, prioritized images, and mobile first templates matter more than framework choices. So we, AIO, and Google and their AI are putting such a higher priority on this. And, it's always been somewhat of a priority, but you could always get around it. Again, it's a higher priority. So we're putting a higher priority on ensuring our designs comply in this area. And, you go back in some of the older designs that we've done 5 or 10 years ago, and you look at it from a core vitals, web vitals standpoint, and you just shake your head. But they look great, and they're interactive and they're fun, and so it's a real balancing act, is what I'm saying. Performance also affects long-term sustainability. Um, so sustainable design survives platform updates. Okay, lean layouts, fewer apps, and less customization reduce technical debt, especially important on WooCommerce and Magento. And so that means when we're doing upgrades itself, there's less to fix when things are simpler and easier. And that sustainability depends on CMS friendly design. CMS friendly design is different for each of the different platforms. So CMS friendly design empowers marketers while protecting performance. Okay. Reusable components and guardrails allow faster merchandising without breaking things. Our job is to get these tools in the hands of the marketing team or the team that manages the website so that they can easily manage and update the website and make sure things don't break when they upgrade and also when they're adding things. So the design standards are followed, etc. And so, yeah, and it's fun when we get to see our people leading the initiative, if they're from a design background, well, we don't have to worry about these guardrails so much. But boy, you give a programmer some enhancements to do, and if they don't have clear guardrails, they're going to go up and make it up themselves. And you're always going back and fixing it. So the guardrails, reusable components, and we'll talk more about that, and the guardrails are extremely important in regards to setting up standards and standards that they can follow throughout the development and the enhancement and the updating. So trust isn't built on one page. And so it's built throughout the site. So we want to see now, no, sorry, not we, but our customers want to see reviews, shipping clarity, and security indicators should appear throughout the journey, especially near calls to actions and checkout. So it's very important that we're putting all of the trust signals up front. And the idea of having a testimonial page just doesn't work anymore. It needs to be front and center. Now, I have to say, this this is an ongoing process. So every year we do an update, and every year, what's important comes front and center, but what was important is also a consideration. So having trust signals was very important. Having trust signals on every page is something new and comes with the new category pages or pillar pages, which are, you're going to hear a lot more about. So what they want to see is on these pillar pages, the trust symbols are signals in there also. Accessibility, and I can't talk more about it. We've been talking about it constantly in just about every presentation we've been giving. Accessibility is no longer optional, especially if you're doing business in the States. And you need WCAG compliant. There's lots of muddiness, or is it one, two, three? Level 2 is what's required. And I think it's level 2.2 is the latest version. So there you've got, color contrast, readable typography, keyboard navigation, and focus states improve usability for everyone, especially on mobile. So it's no longer a nice to have, it's a requirement. Now, the key too is it also benefits SEO and AI. So accessible markup improves crawlability and AI comprehension. Semantic HTML helps both search engines and assistive technologies understand your site. These are so important. You have the right development team understanding these and understanding how to put them in correctly and ensure they don't, if they are put in incorrectly, that quickly changes. Okay. So very, very important that you get the back end stuff correct, the back end and front end from a technical standpoint. But that's a different presentation that we're giving next week as far as what to do and how to do that. So, so accessibility reduces risk. Accessible sites are more resilient, more inclusive, and legally safer. They are also easy to maintain over time and upgrade. So very important to do it. It's sort of a must-have. It's 101 now as far as that goes. So yeah, when we're releasing a website, we're reviewing it. When not just releasing, when we're designing a website and we're programming a website, we're testing it for accessibility. So assuming on product page is a little more very key in this. So product page should answer a questions immediately. And benefits should be above the fold. I know we talk about this, and the fold itself is it's kind of funny because over 50% of traffic is on mobile now, so obviously that doesn't play very well for that. But you want the benefits above the fold and high up on the page. Clear hierarchy, reviews, and FAQs near calls to action help users decide faster, regardless of platform. And so the product pages are such a key component. And again, they need to be designed for skimmers and they need to be organized correctly. We're not Amazon. And Amazon has set their own standards in regards to how e-commerce systems work and play. And they've never done a full-scale upgrade. They've just done minor incremental changes. But they test like crazy. But Amazon is designed for the familiar user, and it's not designed for the prospect or the first time. And they've done that intentionally. They know that works for them. It does not work in most of our other clients' environments itself. Um, so visuals play a big role here, but visuals should reduce uncertainty, not add decoration. Those days are gone. Product and use imagery, short explainer videos, and size or fit visuals reduce hesitation and returns. Okay, so they should be supporting. And please don't forget the alt tags. And the alt tags should be SEO optimized and also describe clearly what the person's doing or in regards to how the product or service and how the product or service is relevant. So next, checkout is where everything pays off. So we need a frictionless checkout. Um, so checkout is one of the most important design experiences. Guest checkouts. I can't believe how many discussions I've had with we don't want guest checkouts. We want them to log in. No, don't. So guest checkouts, minimal fields, clear progress indicators, and transparent costs reduce abandonment. Platform constraints vary. Optimize what you control. I can guarantee you, if you're trying to do a checkout, a complex checkout in Shopify Plus, you're going to have a lot more problems than you're going to have in regards to doing it in Magento or even way better, Adobe Commerce. Adobe Commerce is structured to handle that. And one of the most expensive changes you can make on any site is change the checkout process or customize the checkout process. Um, So, very important. It's done, follows best practices, best layout, best. And this is not the area to get creative. This is the area to follow standards so that they have to make as few decisions as possible. Returning customers want speed. Recently viewed items, quick reordering, and saved preferences create faster paths to purchase and increase lifetime value. This is extremely important in the B2B space. Um, uh, Important in B2C, yes, but very, very important in the B2B. And the B2B ordering, as we know, is quite a bit more complex than the B2C. All of this is enabled by systems. So the industry is going for modular design systems. And the reason is because it enforces consistency, accessibility, and performance. Like accessibility should be built in at the template level. And and then it's the last one is the content itself. But most of it should be built in, come out of the shop in regards to being already built in, just like most SEO should be built in. And AIO should be built in itself at the template level. So whether you're using Shopify sections, Gutenberg blocks for WooCommerce or WordPress, or Magento components, systems outperform one-off pages. So what everyone's doing is we call it blocks or slices, and you have, the first two are your header and your footer, and those go consistent throughout the whole website. And then you've got your hero image and or your hero section, and then you got your benefit section, and then you got your differentiation section. And then you can take those and apply them throughout that section, those slices, and apply them on other pages throughout the website for consistency, for cost reduction, etc. It is a highly popular trend, and we're encouraging it more and more all the time. And so it just makes building a new page and organizing a new page just so much faster and easy. So, in final, let's wrap it up. How am I doing time-wise? Oh, not too bad. So in 2026, e-commerce design success depends on CMS reality. When you're doing design, you are restricted by your CMS in regards to what to do, how to do it, and best practices. Clarity beats customization. Speed beats decoration. Trust beats persuasion, and revenue is the ultimate metric. Okay. The day of any other metric being the top priority should be gone. And in most cases, it is. The best e commerce sites aren't just better looking, they're easier to find, easier to use, easier to buy from, and easier to maintain. Thank you. If you have any questions, please send them in to Daryl at graphicallyspeaking.ca. And I don't have a final slide. Yeah, there we go. So just email them in to Daryl at graphicallyspeaking, or you can give me a call at 604-682-5500, extension 113. And obviously, it's a subject I like to talk on a regular basis. So any thoughts or comments, please pass them along. Have a good day.